There are moments when life hits so hard that breathing becomes a conscious effort. When the diagnosis comes back, when the pink slip arrives, when the marriage crumbles, when hope feels like something that only happens to other people. In those raw, desperate hours when your soul feels scraped bare, where do you turn? What words do you whisper into the darkness when your own voice sounds foreign to your ears? Psalm 23 doesn't offer easy answers or quick fixes. Instead, it offers something infinitely more precious, the presence of a God who steps into our mess and calls it holy ground. Let me tell you about Sarah, whose story reminds us that even when our world implodes, we are never truly alone. 2 years ago, Sarah's life unraveled with breathtaking speed. The job she'd poured her heart into for years vanished without warning, leaving her staring at bills she couldn't pay and a future she couldn't fathom. Then, as if the universe had conspired against her, her father, her rock, her hero, received news that would change everything. The doctors spoke in careful, measured tones about aggressive illness and limited time, their clinical words unable to capture the sound of a daughter's heart breaking. Sarah found herself drowning in a grief so profound it felt like gravity itself had betrayed her. Sleep became elusive. Hope felt like a luxury she could no longer afford. Night after night, she sobbed into pillows that absorbed her tears but couldn't touch her pain. She questioned everything: her faith, her future, her ability to survive what felt like an endless freefall into despair. Then, one evening, in a moment of desperate surrender, Sarah opened her Bible with trembling hands. Her eyes, blurred with tears, fell upon words that would become her lifeline. "Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." Those ancient words, penned by a shepherd king who knew his own share of valleys, pierced through Sarah's darkness like the first ray of dawn. She didn't feel instantaneous relief or miraculous healing. What she felt was presence, the unmistakable sense that she wasn't walking through this valley alone. With shaking hands, she tore a piece of paper from a notebook and scrawled, "The Lord is my shepherd," in ink that ran slightly from her tears. She taped it to her bathroom mirror, where it would greet her each morning like a gentle reminder that the God of the universe knew her name and hadn't forgotten her address. The transformation didn't happen overnight. God rarely works on our timeline. But day by day, prayer by prayer, verse by verse, Sarah discovered that Psalm 23 wasn't just beautiful poetry. It was a roadmap for walking through the impossible. She found a new job, one that fit her better than the old one ever had. Against all medical odds, her father began to recover, his strength returning like spring after the harshest winter. Psalm 23 didn't erase Sarah's pain or rewrite her story. Instead, it did something far more profound. It taught her to trust the shepherd even when she couldn't see the path ahead. This psalm speaks to every believer who has ever felt lost, overwhelmed, or forgotten. It's not a prayer for perfect people living perfect lives. It's a lifeline for the broken, the weary, and the desperate. It's for single mothers working 3 jobs, for couples watching their marriages dissolve, for teenagers who feel like they don't belong anywhere, for seniors facing their mortality, for anyone who has ever wondered if God really sees their struggle. "The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing." These opening words fly in the face of our scarcity mindset, our endless worry about having enough money, enough time, enough energy, enough love. But here's the beautiful truth. When the creator of the universe is your provider, your definition of enough gets completely rewritten. You lack nothing, not because your circumstances are perfect, but because your shepherd is perfectly faithful. "He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters." In our hyper-connected, always-on world, the idea of rest feels almost foreign. We wear our exhaustion like a badge of honor, measuring our worth by our productivity. But God calls us to something radical: stillness. Not the kind of rest that comes from scrolling our phones or binge-watching shows, but the deep, soul-level rest that comes from knowing we are held by hands that never shake, never tire, never let go. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right paths for His name's sake. When was the last time you felt truly refreshed? Not caffeinated or entertained, but restored from the inside out. This is what God offers: a renewal that touches the deepest parts of who we are, washing away the grime of disappointment and discouragement, filling us with purpose that goes beyond our own understanding. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. This verse doesn't promise us an easy life free from pain. Instead, it promises us something better: companionship in the pain. The valley is real, cancer is real, loss is real, loneliness is real, financial stress is real. But so is the presence of the one who has already walked through death itself and emerged victorious. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. What enemies surround you today? Fear, doubt, comparison, regret, anxiety? God doesn't wait until these enemies disappear to bless you. He sets up a feast right in front of them, declaring to every force that opposes you that you belong to Him, and His provision will not be limited by their presence. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. The word follow here literally means pursue or chase down. God's love isn't passive. It's actively pursuing you, tracking you down, refusing to let you go, even when you run from it. His goodness isn't dependent on your performance. It's anchored in His character. Prayer changes everything, not because it changes God's mind, but because it aligns our hearts with His heart. When we pray Psalm 23, we're not trying to convince God to care about us. We're reminding ourselves that He already does. We're not begging for His attention. We're stepping into the reality that we've always had it. Today, whatever valley you're walking through, whatever enemies seem to surround you, whatever circumstances threaten to overwhelm you, remember this: you have a shepherd. He knows your name. He sees your struggle. He's preparing a feast in your honor, and His goodness and love are chasing you down with relentless grace. You are not forgotten. You are forsaken. You are not alone. Your shepherd is with you, and that changes everything.